Hey everybody, welcome to Far Out Dudes.
It's another week and we got another far out conversation for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Paul.
I'm Joseph.
And we are...
We're live.
Where?
In, you keep messing me up, Santa Rosa, California.
Santa Rosa, California. We came all the way to the Golden State.
And we went back in time to 1972.
Yes.
Circa 1972.
Yeah, we went all the way back then.
The hills.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how we did it.
Yeah. So,
Or
we want to acknowledge one of our viewers who commented on one of our videos, one of our subscribers on Rumble. Not accepting username is
Shout out to them.
His name is his username. So we want to thank him because he actually, or her, we want to thank whoever it was who actually came up with this topic. And so I'm going to hand it over to Joseph because he's going to get into the topic. What is the topic, Joseph?
It is, thank you. It is the Santa Rosa Hitchhiker murders.
Ooh.
And this all started at the beginning of 1972.
Ooh, that was around the same time as the Zodiac Killer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's
actually a suspect.
Ooh.
Well, you know, they suspect him of doing it, not,
Okay.
you know,
I'm
hey, the Zodiac Killer.
I am interested now. So, if you haven't seen our Zodiac episodes, you can go back on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and you can catch that wherever you listen or watch.
iHeartRadio,
Yeah.
Pandora.
Oh wow!
I think that's it.
And so wherever you watch podcasts, go back and look at our Zodiac Killer episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I said, this happens in obvious Santa Rosa, California, between 1972 and 1973.
Ooh.
And there are 7 known victims and 1/8 possible Jane Doe victim. And I'll get to, she's the last one. So it's going to be, you got to stick around and find out.
Okay, yeah, because I want to know about like why it's a Jane Doe and why is it a possible victim and not necessarily like a confirmed victim of the hitchhiker.
So I'll find out.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
that's
start off with victim 3 because technically this is the victim that kicked it all off and started the murders. So we're going to start off with the unfortunate Kim Allen. She was last seen hitchhiking from her job in Larkspur to her home in Santa Rosa. She went missing March 4th, 1972, and her body was found on March 5th, 1972. So the very next day.
Oh.
Now, the body was found in an embankment right off the road, and it was found by two high school kids, quote, riding motorcycles, or as they put it, motorcycle riding.
Okay. So there were high school kids riding their motorcycles or motorcycle riding.
Yes, the newspaper put it motorcycle riding.
Okay. All right.
When they found it, when the coroner and everybody got there,
Okay.
they found to have been deceased for at least, 24 hours before they actually found her. So it was
Interesting.
she was recently put there,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And her cause of death was strangulation with the rope wire or similar material was bound around her wrist and ankles also.
Okay. So just by that description, I'm going to already probably take the Zodiac Killer suspect off the list because that doesn't sound like his forte.
Because he just goes and
he likes to use a pistol. So that doesn't sound like what he would typically do when he wants to murder somebody. Sorry for jumping the gun. That's just right off the bat. That doesn't sound like a Zodiac.
Keep that to yourself till the end.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
And so after Kim Allen's body was found, about later on that year, we got Yvonne Weber and Maureen Sterling, and both were last seen getting into the car in front of the Redwood Empire Ice Arena. It's a skating rink, if you didn't know. So their bodies were found down an embankment on a road, and they were found by 2 teenage boys.
Wait. So Kim Allen was found in an embankment off the freeway.
Yes.
By 2 teenage boys.
2 high school kids, yeah.
2 high school kids, motorcycle riding.
Yes.
Were these 2 young boys also motorcycle riding?
They were hiking in Friends Valley.
Hiking this time, okay.
Yeah. When they saw and found, what they saw and found were human bones.
Oh, they didn't find a body. They found the bones.
They found the bones.
Ooh, okay.
So, including a human skull and rib cage found about 50 feet off the road, and another skull near those, and about 20 feet down more was another human rib cage.
Okay, so Kim was obviously killed after them then.
Yes. So their causes of death were unknown, but
kind of hard to determine that when there's just bones.
Exactly. So they originally went missing, like I said, February 4th, and their bodies were found December 26th.
Oh, wow.
So they were there either for a while or kept somewhere just decomposing.
Yeah. So that would be my thing, like just within 2 years, right? So February 1972.
No, this is all the same year.
No. Well, you said they went missing in 1972, but they were found in 1973.
Yeah.
So that's almost
a whole nother.
That was almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So does a body decompose that fast?
Out in the wilderness? Yeah. So the only evidence that they found so far with these 3 victims has just been golden earrings that they've had on them.
All 3 of them?
Just on Kim Allen so far.
Okay. Well, I mean, because the other ones, there's no flesh or anything. It's just
you'll come
bones.
to find out that that's pretty much all that's left. And we'll move on to victim number 4, Jeanette Kamahi.
Okay.
So she was last seen hitchhiking Highway 10 from her home to classes in Santa Rosa Junior College. She went missing on April 25th, 1972, and her body has yet to be found.
They still haven't found her body?
They never found her body.
So they don't even know if she was typically, well, I guess she was hitchhiking, so more than likely.
She was never one, at least according to her friend, was never one to like miss class or anything. Like she was there, she was responsible. And so when things went awry, she, her roommate called and had her reported missing. And the way it was connected to that is obviously she was hitchhiking.
Okay.
And then just like disappeared without telling anyone, without anything, really. No heads up, no, hey, I'm going this place, or any troubles or running away or anything. So she was just hitchhiking.
So I guess one of the questions I have is, are all of these people about the same age, or what is their age range? Are they averaging probably the same age? Or are they young? Are they old?
They were, the ages, unfortunately, were the youngest was 12.
Okay.
And the oldest was going to be about 24.
Okay.
And so they're within those ranges. The majority is like 12 to like 16 years old.
So.
And the oldest one was about 24.
And who was the 12-year-old? Because I guess that would be one of my questions.
The youngest one?
Yeah.
Maureen Sterling with
so that's
Yvonne Weber.
So those are the 2...
That they found the bones.
They found the bones.
Yes.
So we don't know that they were particular hitchhikers. They just went missing. That's a young age.
In front of the Redwood Empire Ice Arena.
Yeah, that's a young age. But I guess at that time, there were a lot of...
there was a lot of hitchhiking.
Well, and it was a lot of... kids were more free to just go in and out without parents being really attached because of the safety of your children weren't as big of an issue back then, I would say, right?
They were a lot more lenient, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even back when I was a kid, it was a lot more lenient. Like, be outside all day.
Yeah.
Even if it was 100 degrees outside.
That's an interesting range. This killer obviously...
were young, helpless women. Like, this wouldn't put up much of a fight and could easily overpower them.
Yeah, because 12 to 24, I mean, that's, to be honest, that's... they're not going over a particular...
The oldest was 24.
Okay.
They stayed within that teenage range.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it's...
Weirdo. Okay.
Victim number 5. And I want to remind you, after even including victim 5 here, there's been like no evidence besides...
Just bodies.
Naked, nude bodies.
And a gold earring.
And a couple earrings from them, yes. So victim number 5 is Lee Cursa. She was last seen with her mother at Save Market. She went missing on November 20th, 1972, and her body was found December 14th, 1972.
Oh, wow.
And the body was found by a couple walking, no teenagers this time. It was about 20 or 30 feet down a steep embankment again, and she may have been there a week before they found the body.
Oh, wow.
So she was there for a little while.
Wow.
Based on how it was decomposed. Now, her cause of death was different. Her cause of death, dislocation of the first and second cervical vertebrae.
So this particular killer is kind of infatuated with their necks, I think.
And like binding them.
Yeah.
Because they've all been like bound up too.
Bound up, and most of their injuries come in the neck area.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that's his little forte right there.
Yeah,
that you can tell.
The little calling card.
Yeah.
With the vertebrae.
Vertebrae.
I keep messing that up. But with the vertebrae, there was compression and hemorrhaging of the spinal cord due to obvious trauma.
Yeah. Interesting.
Now, the thing with Lee Cursa was that she was a habitual runaway and was living with a friend in the area since November 11th.
So I just looked her up. She was 13. So similar to the other two first bodies or skeletons that were found, 12, 13 range for those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thing about the news clippings, too, is when you read them, when they first find the bodies, now they describe them as a woman of being 24 to 30 years old, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They kept putting these little girls in like the 18, 16 to like 19, 20 range, which is just, it was just odd.
Like as identifying them as?
Like age-wise. They're just way off. But
yeah.
I guess describing them, the first kind of seeing them, that's just the best guess.
Yeah.
But
well,
I was just like, wow, they were way off.
So teens that looked a little older, maybe.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know how everyone looked older in the 70s?
Yeah.
And like the 80s, too?
Yeah, now you have like 20-year-olds here that look like they're 15 or something. Yeah.
Going the opposite way.
Yeah.
Back on a more serious note.
Okay.
Jeez.
Whoa.
I apologize for my
Lo siento.
Co-host here.
Lo siento.
But victim number 6, Caroline Davis,
Mm-hmm.
she was last seen hitchhiking on Highway 101 ramp in Garberville, California.
Wow.
And she went missing on July 15th, 1973, and her body was found July 31st, 1973. Now, the thing about Caroline Davis's body is it was found less than 10 feet from the spot where Werber and Sterling were found, the first two that they just found the bones to.
Okay.
And her cause of death wasn't bound or anything. It was strychnine poisoning.
Mm.
Also, she had been abused
Okay.
with,
Gotcha.
and strangled slowly.
Okay.
But
So
her main cause of death was a strychnine poisoning.
So this kind of lets you know that it more than likely is a male suspect.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. They this was the one this one, I'm sorry. Caroline was the one where they found kind of the most evidence of that abuse.
Interesting.
So her main cause was being poisoned.
Okay.
But there was evidence of her being strangled slowly, unfortunately.
Okay.
And
so it was strangulation was involved in
yes.
this
Yeah.
with poisoning.
But the thing that killed her was the poison.
Mm.
And up until this point, I mean, there's obviously all kinds of, hey, announcements going out, don't hitchhike. We need help finding the murderers or information on these people.
Yeah.
And they started a anonymous like tip.
Uh-huh.
So what you would do is they put in there to like, hey, use this format here and type out the information you know, and then rip it on the corner. So they know like it's a legitimate tip, and that if need be, they can match it to somebody like to say, hey, you got it. You're the one that gave the tip. So if they want to come forward and get that reward money.
Yeah.
Because toward the end of this, there was like $12,000 in reward money.
Oh, wow.
And that was back in the 70s, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Do the graphic, it'd be this much in today's money.
Well, I think in the 70s there was just like the forensic investigation teams were not that advanced, like to be able to like get such good like DNA thumbprints, because if this last particular victim was violated, then you would think that there would be some type of
DNA there.
DNA to process.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think I don't doubt that there would have been.
Yeah.
But there was obviously like no DNA or anything back then.
Yeah.
And with them trying to identify all these people, the only way that every single time they've been identified was through their dental records.
Really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like
no one came forward and was like, oh, that's my daughter or anything. It was found. They did the research and found because of their dental records.
Really? Because most of these seem like runaways. Like their ages, 12, 13, and then you have, what is this most recent one you just told me?
Caroline?
Caroline. She was 15,
Davis.
right? So it's like runaways. You would think that their family would be like, hey, we're looking for this for my child, but I wonder if they came from broken homes.
If they're running away, they run away from something.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. I
mean, majority of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
It is. Speaking of sad, this is the one that I found to be sad. Was victim number 7, Teresa Walsh.
Oh,
Walsh. I apologize.
Okay.
She was last seen hitchhiking on Highway 101 also to Miranda, California.
Okay.
Now, she went missing on December 22nd, 1973, and her body was found December 28th, 1973. Now, again, this is just odd to me, but she was found by 2 youths, being 18 and 19 years old, kayaking down a creek.
I mean, you have to at some point. I guess the thing would be, is it different teens each time?
Yeah.
You know? So
I don't think it's the same people, but it's just an odd coincidence.
It is quite an odd coincidence that multiple bodies are being found.
Out of the 7.
Yeah, are found by 2
teenagers.
Like boys or?
This one didn't say.
Okay.
It just said 18 and 19-year-old. But they were kayaking down the creek that had been swelled up from recent rain. And from what the newspaper said, she had been passed away for about a week, with her body being half submerged under a log in Mark-West Creek.
Oh, wow.
For at least 2 days. She passed away more than a week, but her body was under the log for about 2 days.
Which the water may have kept some of the body intact if since it wasn't like on land, and you know how one of the other ones where it was just bones where it hadn't been picked at or anything like that.
The thing is, it was obviously down like an embankment again.
Yeah.
And it would have been in just like brush and whatnot, but the river or the creek was overflowed, and so it just like the body got taken away too. So he didn't like throw her in.
That's what I was in my mind. I was like, oh, did he try to hide the body in the water this time?
No, it just the little creek swelled and the body got
so
taken.
I'm guessing she may have died similar to the others, or how did she?
So her cause of death was strangulation, just like the others.
Just like the others.
And since her body was most likely swept down, she may have been dumped a few ways up, a little way. But the sad part is, she was traced back to Malibu, where her friends left her to hitchhike. She was on her way to see her parents and son for Christmas.
Wait, so her friends, like, did they get in an argument or something, and were like, "You need to get out of here"? Left her to hitchhike.
Yeah, I don't know if it doesn't say if there was a argument or not. It just said that her friends left her to hitchhike.
What? That's just weird, right there.
To see her parents and her son for Christmas. So it's a sad ending, unfortunately.
That is a sad. This one, well, not that the other ones aren't sad, but this one actually is married and has kids.
Well, and this one too could have been prevented by the friends.
Yeah.
Taking her wherever, not just dropping her off on the freeway or something.
Okay.
So,
but was her body found kind of like similar to like hogtied and all that other stuff with like the rest of them?
Tied up in a blanket, I believe. But victim number 8 now, which is Jane Doe.
Okay.
Excuse me, which is Jane Doe. Her body was found about 100 yards from the location where Lee Cursa was found, and her cause of death was unknown. But her body was found to be hogtied with rope around her neck and feet and hands. And this Jane Doe was originally determined to have been the missing Jeanette Kamahi. I think I pronounced it right. But as of October 2009, with DNA testing, they're saying that they're doing that to make sure, but it wasn't. It wasn't
her.
No, unfortunately.
That's crazy.
There is no evidence. There's really no suspects.
But okay, so what went down with this whole Chevy pickup truck fitted with Homewood wooden camper? You know,
yeah.
Like imagine
In
walking
the
down
70s,
imagine walking down the freeway and you're like, that Chevy with the wooden camper looks safe.
I don't know what they were thinking in the 70s.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hitchhiking going on back then from what I read.
I guess growing up, we've just heard so many crazy stories now that now we're kind of suspicious of anything.
Don't do anything.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
The way the Zodiac killer comes into play, like as a possible suspect, is where Davis, Weber, and Sterling bodies were found. They found witchcraft symbols made of sticks.
Oh, like similar to like how the Zodiac had his little cross sign thing and
calling card stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
well, these were two rectangles, sticks made into two rectangles with one stick connecting them, and this was meant to, quote, hurry the spirit into the afterlife. And if you remember from our episode, the last message from the Zodiac killer was how he was bragging about how he's going to get slaves in his afterlife.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, well, could it be the Zodiac killer kind of going just a little north?
Yeah.
Since they stopped, another follow-up news clipping was like he may have gone to Washington.
Yeah.
He may have just driven up north into Washington. Because in October of 1974, 7 women bodies were found in a gravesite in Seattle, Washington. And Detective Sergeant Butch Carlstead, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, he said, quote, they had a psychological profile done up on their suspect, and you can take it and almost overlap it with ours down here. And remember, our killing stopped down here in December 1973 and began occurring in Washington January 1974. So that's a little bit of a connection there, too.
Yeah.
Up in Washington
State.
Yeah. In Seattle. I don't know how Seattle looked in 1970s, but yeah. And here is a map showing where the bodies were found.
Okay.
And you can see those 3 dots here, the 3 purple dots, were, Yvonne Weber, Caroline Davis, and Maureen Sterling. And you can see how they're really close together.
Yeah.
They're not that very, they're not far apart. And so, wherever the guy was, majority of the time when they have, their serial killers or whatnot going around, they stay or are staying within that general vicinity.
Yeah.
Either in between them in actual Santa Rosa or maybe out a little bit in St. Helena or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're close nearby because they don't drive, far out to do their business or unfortunate killings. But they tried again to go into the cold case files back in 2011, I believe.
Yeah.
And nothing else came up of it.
So then
some of the DNA testing and whatnot, obviously it's still unknown. No good leads or anything. So these are legitimate 0 suspects. There was no suspects, no clues to go after besides some of the a footprint and the witchcraft stuff.
Yeah.
So this is one of those out there. There's
well,
nothing.
I don't know. It's just it's. I think this is an interesting one because there's no strong there's no strong suspects in this particular one. So
it's just
I think
the bodies found and then that's it.
So I want to thank Not Accepting Username for this topic. So
very interesting.
Let us know who you think the suspects are that you believe might be the hitchhiker killer.
Yeah. So share, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment if we missed anything or any more details you'd like us to discuss or any other topics or leads.
This is the end.